Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Knitting Witchery, episode 3, take 437. This is going to be the last one. I wasn't sure if I was too quiet. On my computer, I sound very quiet. I'm not sure if I am. Maybe I'll pull this forward a little. If you could let me know if I am too quiet. My husband works, and I have to do it while he's working right now. So I can't be like really, really loud, but just let me know if it's too quiet and I will make sure that I speak up. So exciting news. Okay, so this podcast thing is rolling and I love it. I love that it's rolling. So the second episode, so the first one I put under a different name and then I finagled some things around and, um, spaced. Uh, so then I put the second one on Facebook, and I love the support from friends and family. Um, some people that I don't even know if I'm friends with found it and commented and said they liked it. So I appreciate that. We have 10 subscribers or 10 new ones. One of them's my husband because he supports. Um, but yeah, so we have 10 subscribers on YouTube. And then I decided, because I'm trying to do this inch by inch, that I need a Ravelry group. So I created a Ravelry group. So Knitting Witchery is a group that's available on Ravelry. And if you don't know what Ravelry is and you're interested in knitting, it is an online website that promotes knitting and crocheting and fiber crafts. So you go on there and you make a page and you can show your projects. You can show the yarn that you own. You can look up patterns. They have thousands and thousands of patterns, new ones every day. Uh, you can find groups with podcasts in them, destashing. Um, there's a lot. Like, it's just everything. And I don't know if I'm coming down with something. My nose is very clogged, so sorry for the nasally sound. And my mouth is very dry. But I can still taste and smell, so I know it's not COVID. Um, so that's good. So if you have COVID or know someone who does, my thoughts are with you. So the podcast, it's growing. So then after I made the page, we have two members, which I'm going to introduce, and one of them said this would make a great podcast, and I was like, but it is a podcast. I have one, and then I realized it's not on the page, so I have to add that to the page. So I added the podcast to the pages, the episodes, and I'll add this episode to the page too. And then I did a welcome thread. And so if you're watching this and you're on Ravelry or you know someone who's interested in this, please share. I would love for this to turn out to be a big thing and us to have tons of members and do knit-alongs and giveaways. So you guys make it happen. You guys make it possible. So the more you subscribe, the more you join the group, the more we can do. So I think on episode 20, I'm going to start doing a knit along. It gives us time to grow. So we're only on episode 3. So there's that. But I want to introduce the new members. And of course, the page is up. Good. So I'm really bad at pronouncing names. And you guys have 2 Ravelry names. And so if I say it wrong, I apologize. I would never want to be a keynote speaker or that thing at the graduation where you announce the people, because I butcher names badly. So if I say it wrong, please forgive me. So our 2 members so far are Salugetta and Nixie Cat. And Nixie Cat is from the UK. So join the group. Go in the welcome thread. Let us know a little bit about you. You know, are you a knitter? Are you a witch? Are you both? Are you practicing? Are you interested? Anything about you, let us know. You're welcome. So join the group. It's welcome for everyone. So there is that. So good. It's going great. I'm excited. Episode 3, and hopefully we'll have more viewers and we'll have people in the group now and we'll get this rolling. I'm excited. So, and then my husband brought up like ideas of programs and things that we can do for like videos and I don't know how to do all that. So if you're a podcaster and you know a few things like programs to get and how to use the program and different things, like Smells Like Yarn was doing something where he was recording and then in the corner had the pattern and he was talking about the pattern and showing different things about it. I would love to do that. I record on my phone because my computer's a piece of crap from like 20 years ago. Maybe not that far. 10 years ago. But it works and it's got all my stuff on it. So let's just hope it lasts. So there's that. I am drinking water because I have a headache and dry nasaliness, so I'm hoping water will help. Let's see. So let's get into it. So I have a lot of new projects. I have a finished item. I'm excited about my finished item. You'll never guess what it is. You'll be so proud of me. But I have a lot of new items and I have some yarn to show you. My yarn came in, so I'm very excited about that. Like I said, I'm just doing the knit crate, which I haven't gotten yet, which I find odd, so I have to look into that. It's usually about this time that I get it. Oh, sometimes a little later. It's only the 18th, so I'll look into it. But that will be coming, and my November purchase came in, so I have to wait till December to buy more yarn. And as much as I want to do the Stephen King Yarn of the Month Club, and maybe I will, um, I have to wait a whole month for it to come in, and then yeah, I have to wait a whole month, and I just don't know if I can. That's gonna be really hard. So I'll see. But I love that. I love Stephen King. He's like my favorite author. I really haven't been reading lately, so but I love his stuff. Needful Things, if you haven't read it, is just a great book. It's very detailed, very long, but it's just like this this book that goes kind of slow, but then it's like a snowball. It just grows, and then it's like that snowball hits a tree and explodes, and just whew, it's good. Um, so yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'll show that later. Right now, let's show some finished objects. Well, a finished object. And my finished object is the green mitts. So I am done with this yarn. And as I was podcasting, I realized that I made, well, they're about the same. I think I did 2 extra rows on this one as opposed to this one. I think I tried to make it a little longer, so whatever. It works. So I have to weave in the ends on this one. I did have a weaving in the end day because I was like, you know what? I'll watch a movie, weave in some ends. Everything I gotta knit right now is very, like, you gotta hyper focus, so why not just weave in some ends? So I did. I have to figure out where I'm gonna put all my. I have a container full of knit objects, so I just gotta put them in. But see, okay, so remember how I was talking last week about the knit front to back and doing a make one and how the make one has holes? So see the little, oh, it's hard to maneuver my hand. Stupid string. Here, we'll do this one. See the little holes? So that's from the make one ladder. If anyone knows a way where it's like, oh, you do that, but then you're supposed to do this, please let me know. Otherwise, I think I'll just do knit front to back because you don't have the holes. But I am done with this yarn. It is in my make a blanket yarn stash, and that's going to go in later, like when I want it to. But I am done with the yarn. So the yarn one's from Knit Crate. I wasn't that happy with it. It was 100% wool. It doesn't feel like wool. It feels like acrylic. And I don't really like the color, but the color works. It's got this sheen or halo-y fuzziness about it, and it just, I don't like it. But I will wear these because, you know, I like the pattern and I made them. I mean, I guess I could give them to someone, but I mean, I don't know a lot of people who wear fingerless mitts. I've given knitted objects to people. Let's do this. If you want these mitts, I am not attached to them in the least. So if you see them and you're like, I love fingerless mitts, I would love them, let me know. I will send them to you. Um, yeah, I mean, they're green. They're average size for, I would say I have smaller hands. I think I have smaller hands. Maybe a men's medium, men's small hands, women's medium. So if you are interested in them, let me know. I will ship them to you at some point. I have to ship all the toys and stuff for my family, so at some point I'd ship them to you. I don't know how to do money exchange. Depending on where you live, I'd like to do a shipping cost exchange where I don't pay for shipping. So if it's something like $10 for shipping, um, if you could pay the shipping price, that would be great. Especially if you're overseas and it's really expensive because it weighs nothing, and I'm giving them to you, and it'd be nice to have that exchange. So that's the only thing I'd ask is if there's a shipping fee more than like $4, $5, then you pay for the shipping fee. Um, so let me know. And if you're like, I'm not that attached to pay a shipping fee, I totally understand. So, but I have a finished object. They are finished. I popped them out in like 2 days. One day I was working on them, and I'm like, no, I, I hate I. And you know what's sad is lately the projects that I'm working on, I have a very negative attitude towards, but it's not the projects themselves. It's just the fact that they're toys. So I don't want you to think like, oh, he's so negative. He makes all this stuff and he hates it. Like, I love making my socks. I love making my hats. I'm selfish. I like making the mittens for my cousins. I'm a little mittened out because I did like a pair for me, a pair for my niece, and now a pair for my nephew, and so I'm just a little mittened out. But I like the pattern. It's just the yarn I was not impressed with. Um, but generally in the knit crate you get good yarn. Um, I want to say one year I had cashmere. I was surprised, but I made my brother-in-law a hat for Christmas. I think I had him as Secret Santa. I made him a cashmere hat. And part of me wonders why I did that, because it's fucking cashmere, and I love cashmere, and why wouldn't I keep that for myself? And then part of me wonders, like, did he accidentally wash it and dry it and not hear me when I said that, and now it's shrunk to the size of a doll's head, and it was waste, or, I don't really see him in the winter, so maybe he just doesn't wear it, but please wear it, because if someone makes you something, please wear it. I mean, even if you're not that impressed with it, or it's not something that, just wear it at least once a year. It's just out of respect. We put a lot of time and a lot of energy in what we make, and it may be something where we're like, oh, they're really gonna like this, and we have this idea for you, and you may look at it and you may be like, oh, that's not my color, or that's not really my style anymore. Just at least wear it once a year. It just means a lot to us. If we say don't dry it in the dryer, please don't dry it in the dryer. I know what happens. I've dried my own socks in the dryer. I try not to. I have a lot of socks that even you're not supposed to throw in the wash, but I'm I'm rough on my socks. I'm not a nice knitter to my knitted objects. I will admit that. One day, one day I'll be nice to my knitted objects. So that will be a day. So that's that. I'm gonna pause for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Oh, I'm doing the couch because he's having a meeting, and I'm further from the office if I do the couch. But normally I'm gonna do the table because it's just more comfier, whatever. So that was my finished object. Now what I've been working on. And I think all of these you haven't seen. The scarf that I was working on, I'm not gonna make that. I say I'm okay with a hodgepodgey scarf, but I'm really not. There's just, I don't know. So I've decided to use that yarn to make like a blanket for an animal and bring it to an animal shelter. I have not that one. I have another knit blanket that I'm gonna bring to a shelter. It's smaller, and I think that's what I'm gonna do with my hometown yarn from Joann's. I have a bunch of it that I was gonna make a baby blanket with, and so I think I'm gonna make little blankets for animals. Um, so yeah, there's patterns for preemie, but I don't want to use worsted weight for a preemie. That just it doesn't sound good. So I'm gonna give it to the animals. I think a lot of times animals in the winter get neglected, and there is a shelter, but I don't know if it's a kill shelter or not. I don't like kill shelters, but it's the only shelter in the area, and if it is, um, at least I'm giving that animal some comfort while it's still there. I don't like kill shelters. I think it's sad that there's too many animals that are in shelters and abandoned. Um, my family would disagree with me on this, but I say, go to a shelter, get a dog. Um, a lot of times they may say, like, okay, well, it's been abused and stuff. And there is a risk with it, but there's also a great reward. And I'd like to think that if I got a dog, it, it really just needs that love. So give it the space, give it the love. If it becomes a problem again, you can always, it's sad to do, but, don't keep it in your house if it's attacking you. But I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people just give up on those animals, and they shouldn't be given up on. And so, if you're looking for a dog, look for one in a shelter. Or sometimes they're strays or lost dogs, and they're found, and no one knows that they're lost, and they're perfectly happy animals, and they just need a little bit of love. They will let you know, because when I went there for a activity for when I worked with kids at risk, they let you know which animal. Like, they have a system where it's like, okay, he's aggressive, don't go pet him. Like, he's more of an aggressive dog. So if you're scared or like that's just not for me, they have that. At least at this place. I don't know. But I'm talking too much about shelters, and anyway, I don't look. I'm just not looking good today. Um, Shirt is not doing it for me. So, yeah. All right, let's go on to the next object. I cast on my nephew's second mitt, and I did all the way up to here. I just took off for the thumb, and now I just have to do straight knitting, cast off, and do the thumb. So these will go by fast. So I'll work on that, because then I got to use the blue yarn for the dinosaur. So these are going to be a main focus for me, so I can get them done. But I think I'm going to start alternating gifts, just because I work on them and then I stop and then I work on something else and then I lose focus. So this is great TV knitting, because it's just straight stockinette in the round, so it's just plain knitting. The pattern is very great. This is worsted weight yarn on size, I'll tell you about the needles in a second. Size 4s. And I remembered what the knitting needles were called. I think I called them knitter something, but it's knitting pride, knitter's pride, yeah. And I love them. I don't like the longer ones, because I just don't like the longer ones, but I accidentally ordered longer ones, and I'm not gonna just throw them out. I guess I could Pardon me, I got the hiccups now. I guess I could have returned them, but yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm getting the hiccups. Oh, I am not re-recording this. This is like the 400th time. Um, so those are those. The first one is completed. The second one is probably 60% done. So there's that. And I was saying for the thumb, I hate doing the thumb on kids' mitts because it's really fiddly. It's like 13 stitches on these. This is where I'd want the smaller needles, is because the big ones with like 13 stitches or 5 stitches on them, 5 stitches each, just gets annoying. But they will be done. And I love this yarn. It's another Knit Crate yarn. I forget because I never keep the ball bands, but I'm starting to for you guys. But I just love it. It's variegated but tonal, but variegated. It's very neat. So those will be his. So on to the toys. I hate knitting toys. And I couldn't remember why. And then I started working on these, and I remembered why. These toys are made with love. I love who I'm knitting them for, and I have to remind myself that when I'm knitting them, because I hate knitting toys. They are so fiddly. There's 2 kinds of toys that you can do, and it's the lesser of 2 evils. You got to figure out. You can knit in the round. But usually when it comes to knitting in the round, there's some part of the toy. It's like the toy makers or pattern makers decide to make something evil about these toys that is so fiddly. And I will show you that. So option 1, I have the body made up of the dinosaur. Here's a little tail, his head, the body. So this part wasn't bad. This part went smoothly. It was a great pattern because it showed you different areas to stuff, so it wasn't all at once and created it difficult to stuff. I'm terrible at stuffing, so it's not the best. But if anyone knows any tricks for stuffing animals, maybe something that I'm just stuffing too fast and not doing something to improve it or something. But if you know anything, just let me know. Like, maybe I forgot to increase here or something, but it's weird. I don't know. But here's the body. This wasn't bad. This piece of cake. Easy, quite a number of stitches. Pattern was fun. It was different, kept you on your toes. It was great. Now I'm supposed to do the feet. And I will show you the feet. This is a foot. This looks like a thimble cover. It could cover a thimble. You start by casting on 6 stitches and dividing them evenly, 2 stitches for 3 needles. Now, I don't like wooden needles. I prefer metal needles. I just like how they feel. I always found the sound of knitting relaxing, and so it creates that noise. I don't think wooden needles really make that clinking noise, so I find it relaxing. And I just like, they're smoother, they don't break. Like, if I did socks on a 1.5 wooden, it's like toothpicks. I'm so afraid I'd break something, so I don't do wooden. But when you have 2 stitches on this long of a needle and you're supposed to knit in the round, it makes you want to take this needle and stab yourself in the neck. It's just like, the pain is so bad. And then I was thinking about it, and I don't know if I could do it, and I might try, but I don't have a lot of yarn left, so I don't know if I will. I wonder if I could cast on leave a long tail, because you're supposed to leave a long tail to sew in the leg, but cast on the larger number of stitches and work your way down, and then cast off with 2 stitches or 6 stitches. But still, that would be hard to do when you get to there, but not unmanageable. If someone knows if that's possible, like if that would be something easier and it would work out just as well, because it's like a hat, it's like a little hat, let me know, because I'll do it that way, and then just leave a longer tail for the sewing in the feet. Let me know, because I would rather do that than, I mean, I was anxiety ridden. It took 20 minutes to do this, because I kept falling off, it kept getting twisted. I don't even know if they were twisted when I cast. I didn't care. I was like, as long as it works, it works. So, yeah, I hate these feet, and I have to do 3 more of them. And I wanted to throw it out a window and scream, but I didn't, because I'm making them with love. These are made with love, not hate, not disdain, love. So that's one. Now, that's option 1 for making toys. You could have these little fiddly things that you're supposed to stuff with fluff, and then tie whatever. So that's option 1. Option 2 is and I forgot to say what pattern that was. The mitts were classic mittens. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. The dinosaur is, I have to log in. Is dinosaur is non-existent. Maybe it's in the library, not library and favorites. Yes, Dinosaur Jr. And the pattern is by Katie Boyette. Oh, that's what it's published in. I don't know if that's her name. Yeah, Katie Boyette. And one thing I'm going to do for next one is make show notes. My husband was like, did you make show notes? I'm like, no, I just go by the fly. And he's like, you need to make show notes. And now I know why. So that's the dinosaur. And it's a beautiful pattern. I'm not one for knitting toys. Then I'm making the elephant. And the elephant is Precious Pachyderm by Sheila Zachariah. And this is the picture of the elephant. It's cute. But you have to seam everything up. So I have the body, the head, the nose. So the nose, the head, the body. And then I had an issue with the ears. So I made 2 ears, but I found out my mistake because one was significantly smaller than the other, and I was all mad. And that was like take 432. And then I realized I forgot to do the knitted part. I just did the increase and then the decrease. And why? Please tell me I didn't. Okay, good. I thought I threw out the good size one and left the small one in my pile, which I would cry. But I didn't. So I have the ears. You saw the ears, and then I have to work on the legs. But my hands are kind of warm, and I'm using some kind of needle. They're over there. And it's with acrylic yarn, it squeaks, and it gets all bleh. So I'm taking a break from it. But I got that done. So toys take time. And that's the other thing, is you don't think they do because they're smaller, But they take time and they take focus. And I think that's why I was like having fun with it. But then I have to seam things up. And I don't like seaming. I don't. So, and then I get procrastination mode and I can't do that with gift knits. And then I get burnt out. And that's why I don't knit gifts. But I'm going to do this because I love my nieces and nephews and they deserve things. So, that's that. So hopefully I'll have the mitts done and then I'll work on little hats too for my niece and nephew. And that will be a nice break from toys. So those are the toys. So you seam it up, you stuff it. And that's the other option. So you have to ask yourself, do I prefer fiddly bits that make me want to scream? Or do I feel like knitting things flat and having to seam things up? I also don't like seaming things up because I'm always afraid I'm going to do it uneven. And that would just suck. And then you have to unseam it and it's a pain in the ass. So, yeah. I've been rambling too much. Thank you guys for being patient. Okay, now the yarn goodies. Oh, before that, I'm going to make for my other nephew some blocks. My mom said like knitted blocks, so I'm going to do that. And then my niece, I'm making her a monkey. So 2 more toys and then 2 hats, 3 hats, and I'm done. 3 hats, yeah. And then I'm done with gifting. So I got a lot to do and very little time. Luckily, they're small things, so they don't take a lot of time. But I gotta get working on them. I can't get distracted with my last project, which is not mittens. So I made these mittens, but they didn't work, and I have yarn everywhere. Long story short, I thought it was a sport weight, but really it's a heavy fingering, and I tried to make mitts, but then they were too small, and so I made a mitt, and I was like, oh, well, I'll just make them anyway, but I didn't like how they were turning out. I don't like pooling yarn. These socks are going to have pooling. I don't know why I don't like pooling yarn, but I'm not, it's not my favorite, but I'll wear it anyway. So I'm working on socks and I have the cuff done. And I was going to use that other yarn, but I really want to work with that yarn. And I know if I just have this lingering, this mitt, nothing's going to happen with it. And since I'm kind of on this kick of getting out the old and starting the new, I figured, you know what, it's going to be my first pair of socks. So I'm going to work on them and get them gone. So I'm just pulling away from the mitt, like I'm frogging it as I knit socks. So 2 birds, 1 stone. And I have beta mess. So that's that. Just I think it was like pure and simple. I have to find out. Plain and simple. I think I have it on my desktop. But these sock patterns, and I memorize it, so I just have it memorized. So I can do socks in my sleep. So there's that. So my last project is a pair of socks. And when I get burnt out from knitting for other people, I can do a couple rows for myself and then go back to that. So that's my plan. So those are those. Now, what did I get? What I got is this. And this looks so much cooler than it did in the picture. The colors are so bright and amazing. And it's by Fresh from the Cauldron, ironically enough, because I'm a witch. But Fresh from the Cauldron, they have amazing yarns. And I'm actually going to message the person because I haven't seen any real new ones. And I want to make sure they're still dyeing yarns because they had the funnest names. I got Needful Things. I just talked about how that's my favorite book. I got a Needful Things of yarn from them. And it is just beautiful. That orange is, and I thought it was gray, but it's like a gun silver blue. So, and then it looks like bits of green. It's just got everything. Red. and it's called Billy. And it's a DK weight. It's 100% merino, um, superwash merino. And I don't know if this is what it's named after, but this is what I think it's named after, is Billy from Hocus Pocus. And every time I see it, I want to go, Billy! Because that's how she says his name when she's angry. Billy! So that's my new yarn. This is my November yarn. It's squishy and soft. And I'm adding it to my pile. And it's beautiful. So November's purchase came. Yeah, I just tossed it. That was rude of me. Sorry, yarn. November's purchase came, and I have that, so I have to wait till December to get my new one, which is very hard to do because I just want more and more yarn, and the more I knit, the more I'm like, oh, I gotta get more yarn, but that's why I'm knitting through the stuff that I just have lingering around, so I can, it works up in here. The gears are grinding, it works. So there's that. And now, in all of my yarn, I have buried the thing that I'm going to talk about next. So that's the yarn section. So now we're going into the witchcraft section. And if you don't want to see the witchcraft section, turn off the computer. Stop the video. You don't really have to turn off your computer. That'd be pointless. But stop the video, and I hope we see you again, and thank you for dropping by. If you are interested in the witchcraft section, the section, and actually only came for the witchcraft section, thank you for joining us. I'm glad I get to see you. And if you're continuing, just hang out. So, where did I put it? I buried it. We're going to talk about the next altar tool, and kind of a little bit about the symbol too. The next altar tool that I'm going to talk about is the Pentacle. The Pentacle. And it is a earth symbol. And for your altar, it's made out of wood or clay, any earth-bound substance. And I found this at a thing called Obscurities and Oddities or something. And it just was beautiful. And my pentacle I didn't really like. So actually my pentacle is a pentagram. I'll talk about the difference. But so I have it. So what is the pentacle? The pentacle is a symbol of wholeness. And it represents the 5 elements. I don't know which one's where. I forget. So we'll talk about that later. But earth, air, fire, water, spirit. So I don't know if those are the right points, but I'm just pointing at stars. And then in the middle is you. Like, it's you connected to the 5 elements, and then all in a circle. So the circle is important. It unites everything. It keeps that going. So this is the pentacle. The pentacle is a symbol for grounding, and protection too. You have everything around you. You are protected. You are one. You are whole. It's a symbol of being whole. And a lot of people, when they see the pentacle, they get scared. They're like, oh no, it's an evil symbol. It's not an evil symbol. In fact, the pentagram was used in Christianity when they were trying to convert paganism to Christianity, because it represented the 5 injuries of Christ, like crown of thorns, the hands, the feet, and the spear in the middle. So actually it was part of Christianity for a while, so there you go. So that's the pentacle symbol. It's used on Earth now as it's a symbol of Earth. Now, what people often see in the media is the pentacle upside down. Now, when you're doing witchcraft rituals and you have a pentacle that's upside down, it's not a symbol of evil. I mean, unless you're doing some like dark chaos magic, which I saw this documentary and this guy's like, I'm all about chaos magic. And I'm like, I don't even know if that's a thing, but whatever you set out, you get back times 3. So have fun with that, because your life is probably a steamy pile of shit, and you're making it even worse. You're just adding to the pile. So feel free to, throw chaos my way. I use protection for myself. That sounds like I wear condoms, but I use protective spells for myself, and So go ahead, feel free. Do you do you. Enjoy that coming back at you times three. So, um, but it's a symbol of banishment. So if you're doing a banishing spell, or you're doing something to push something away as opposed to draw something towards you, you would have it reversed, because this is drawing it towards you, this is pushing away. Now, often the upside down pentagram is seen in satanic representation because it's the picture of Baphomet. So his ears, no, his horns, his face, his ears or whiskers, and then his mouth. Satanism has a mystical side to it. They have satanic magic. I don't know that much about Satanism, but Satanism is more of a philosophy than it's a religion, but it's more philosophy based or lifestyle based than like a religion. But if you're satanic and I'm wrong, please let me know. I don't mean any offense by it. Um, I know that it's basically about you doing you and being a human being and not being controlled by a all powerful being. But if I speak out of turn, just let me know. I never mean to. And I probably did with that whole chaos magic thing, but I don't know. I mean, it just the way the guy was going, it was very offensive. Like this is real, this is magic, and it's like the buddy, you're just creating towards a stigma. So there you go. So the pentacle is when it has a circle around it. That's the pentacle. A pentagram is when there is no circle around it. It's just the 5-pointed star. And so I feel like the pentagram represents a little different than the pentacle, but I can't remember, and I don't have the glossary with me. But so if you don't see it's a 5-pointed star, a pentagram. It's 5 points, like a hexagon, pentagon. It's just a pentagram because it's a star. So the pentagram has multiple meanings behind it. So that is the pentacle. It's not something to be afraid of. If you see someone wearing it, it often represents that they are a witch or follow Wicca and have some belief in that spiritual realm of magic. And it's a symbol of protection, identity, and grounding. So if you see someone wearing a pentacle, they're not trying to offend you. They're not, just like if someone's wearing a cross, they're not trying to offend you. They're just expressing themselves and using it as a symbol of protection. So just be mindful of that. Like if you see someone wearing it, it serves a purpose. And I have one. I'm really harsh on my necklaces. I get the cloth ones and then I wear them in the shower and then they break. So I want to get a really nice one. That's what I want. A really nice pentacle necklace. So maybe I'll splurge on one year or 1 month. So, well, that's the show. And I hope it was informative. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you continue to watch. Please subscribe. Please join us on Ravelry group, Knitting Witchery. And we'd love to see more of you. So come back next week, and thank you for joining us.